kill for no bang. Like Minecraft, but I can't even play the full moon. Won't let me. See, you see this right now. Look, I can't even break a single block. But I leave it. I can't even break the seaweed. Yeah, can I go back and create a Oh, okay. Myself. Oh, dolphins in it. Open, say open. Do you give me anything? Please open. Yeah, please make me die real quick. You forgot? He said he put it on when you can't place a block.
Okay, a lot of hard building. Finally done with this bitch ass corner. Bro, the country's not even that big for it to took that. This is the shape of goddamn L.
This is going to be my testing one. Strong building. I forgot. I'm gonna just need to space this out. What? Ice, so I can drive. I'm making a boat race. 3 laps around. Can we go into a survival thing? No. It's kind of boring. Yeah. Can we go to a survival thing? Yeah. It's been an hour and I'm working on my house. I just got my tester room and my room left. Do you have a building challenge then? But it's boring.
Well, then leave and let Christian come out and sit.
Yeah. Go there. Are you digging up my face? Sorry. You can find beds right here. I know where to find torches at. In the same place where you can find the beds. Well, I don't want to find them in here. Both of y'all got on your phone. John, play. John can.
To everyone who keeps commenting for me to oil up. To everyone who keeps commenting for me to oil up. My family follows me on here, but they don't understand social media at all. So what do you think their reaction is when they go in my comment section and see 500 comments saying, oil up, oil up, oil up? In the past 3 nights at dinner, I've had to explain to them what that means. So please stop commenting it. I can't do this anymore. To everyone who
Yo! Kim.
Okay, and how many eyes do you want? One? No, maybe two. Just in case it's going to. Alright, how many eyes? Yeah, two, probably two. Two sounds good. Yeah, two sounds great. 7,000. I want 7,000 eyes. Okay, and this man poured a strange blue liquid into a lake. The internet exploded. At first, people were furious, accusing him of dumping harmful chemicals into the water. But it turns out he wasn't hurting the environment at all. In fact, the dye he used is designed to restore the lake's natural color. And according to him, it's even beneficial for the fish.
No, this is good.
What advice
advice did you follow that everyone thought was stupid? I took over my uncle's failing auto repair shop after he died. The place was a disaster. 5 Yelp reviews, all 1 star. The last mechanic had stolen half the tools and bounced. My friends kept telling me to sell it. My dad said bulldoze the building and cut my losses. But I remembered something my uncle told me right before he passed. He said everyone deserves a second chance, especially the ones who already used up their first 10. So I did what everyone called the dumbest business move ever. I walked 2 blocks down to the halfway house and asked if any of the guys knew how to work on cars. 3 guys raised their hands. Tyler used to boost cars before he got caught. Yeah, Grand Theft Auto. Pretty ironic when you think about it. Then there was Andre, who worked at a chop shop for years before it got raided. And Vincent, who had no criminal record with cars, but could rebuild an alternator faster than I could change my oil. I bought them all matching uniforms from Walmart, made them agree to weekly drug tests, told them straight up, 1 screw up and you're gone. No second chances at second chances. The first month was rough. Tools kept disappearing. Andre showed up high twice. A customer saw Vincent's mugshot on some Crime Watch app and freaked out. My mom actually cried when she found out who I hired. She said I was disrespecting my uncle's memory. The neighborhood Facebook group went crazy. Someone posted calling it a crack house with brake pads. Another person said they'd never feel safe bringing their car there. But around month 3, something changed. We started getting booked out 2 weeks in advance. Tyler brought in his racing buddies who needed work done on their street cars. These guys had serious money, and they loved Tyler's work. Andre fixed up this beat-up 2003 Honda in his spare time and entered it in a local car show, won 2nd place. Vincent designed this tool that made battery replacements take half the time. He made it out of spare parts during lunch breaks. Customers started specifically asking for him because he explained everything and never made them feel stupid about not knowing car stuff. Word spread fast, not just about the quality work, but about the guys themselves. One lady posted on Yelp saying she'd never felt safer at a garage. Another customer wrote that Tyler didn't just fix his transmission, he taught him basic maintenance so he wouldn't get ripped off somewhere else. The turning point came when this fancy Mercedes broke down outside our shop. The owner was this rich lawyer type in a $1,000 suit. He looked nervous walking in, probably saw our crew and thought he was about to get robbed. But his alternator was dead, and we were the closest shop. Andre handled it. 45 minutes later, the guy's car was purring like new. Cost him $60 total. The lawyer was shocked. He said he'd been quoted $300 at the dealership, and they wanted to keep his car for 3 days. Andre just smiled and said, "We treat everyone fair here." That lawyer ended up sending us half his firm. Rich people love saving money, turns out. 6 months later, I hired 2 more guys from the halfway house. Business was so good, I had to expand into the empty unit next door. My dad finally came by to check things out. He watched Tyler explain brake pad replacement to some college kid, saw Andre organizing the tool room like a military operation, caught Vincent training the new guys on proper safety procedures. On the way out, my dad pulled me aside. He said he was wrong about everything, that I didn't just save a business, I built something special. 3 guys who society wrote off were now teaching other people how to rebuild their lives along with their engines. Tyler's been clean for 8 months now. Andre bought his first house last week. Vincent started taking night classes at the community college, wants to become a mechanical engineer. What advice did you follow that everyone thought was stupid?
John, you should play Run.
Have you ever been blamed for something just because you were born? My older sister Emma has cerebral palsy, and my parents have spent my entire life making me hate for being the normal. Growing up, every family dinner was about Emma, so she got an E+ despite her challenge, while you only got an A. Every birthday, half my presents went to Emma, so she wouldn't feel let out. When I made varsity soccer, Dad said, "Just remember, Emma will never get to run like that." I became the family ATM at 14. My summer job money went to Emma's therapy. My babysitting cash funded her special equipment. When other kids bought video games, I was buying Emma's medication. My friends got cars for their 16th birthdays. I got a lecture about privilege and responsibility. The worst part, everyone praised my parents for raising such a selfless son. Teachers would gush about how mature I was. Neighbors called me an inspiration. Church members held us up as the perfect Christian family. I smiled and nodded while dying inside, wondering what I'd done wrong to deserve this life. My guidance counselor pulled me aside junior year. "Jake, your grades are incredible. Have you thought about applying to top universities?" I laughed bitterly. With what money? She looked confused, so I explained that every penny I'd ever earned went to Emma's care. When I got accepted to Stanford with a partial scholarship, Mom sat me down with tears in her eyes. "We're so proud of you," she said. said, but we can't afford the rest. Emma needs a new wheelchair, and her therapy costs just went up again. My college fund, 18 years of birthday money, graduation gifts, everything had vanished into Emma's medical expenses without anyone asking me. I watched my dreams crumble while my parents acted like they were making a noble sacrifice. I was 22, working 2 dead-end jobs to afford community college, living in my childhood bedroom decorated with participation trophies I'd won before I learned winning meant nothing in our house. Emma called me sobbing one night. I need to tell you something, she whispered. Can we meet tomorrow? We sat in a coffee shop where she pulled out her phone with shaking hands. I recorded Mom and Dad last night. You need to hear this. The audio destroyed me. Mom's voice. We've been too hard on Jake. Using Emma as an excuse to control his life isn't fair to either of them. Dad replied, he's strong though. He'll figure it out. Besides, Emma actually told me she feels guilty about the college money. She never asked for any of this attention. But we made it seem like she needed everything, Mom continued. When really, we just couldn't say no to her requests and yes to his dreams. We turned him into her caretaker instead of her brother. The worst part is how proud everyone thinks we are. Dad sighed. When really we just took the easy path. It's easier to sacrifice Jake's future than fight insurance companies. My sister looked at me with tears streaming down her face. Jake, I never asked them to take your college fund. I begged them not to when I found out last year. They said you'd understand because you're the responsible one who always sacrifices for family. My throat felt raw. How long have you known about all this? Since I was 16. I overheard them arguing about money and realized they were stealing from your future to avoid dealing with my actual care needs. She slid an envelope across the table with my name written in her careful handwriting. I've been saving my disability checks for 3 years. It's enough for 2 semesters at Stanford. I stared at the envelope, then at my sister, the person I'd secretly resented for years, realizing she'd been fighting for me the whole time while I blamed her for our parents' choices. Emma, I can't take your money. That's not fair to you either. Yes, you can, she interrupted with a firmness I'd never heard from her. I also applied for an apartment near Stanford's campus. I'm moving out with you. What about Mom and Dad? What about your care? Emma's jaw set with determination I'd never seen before. I'm 20 years old, Jake. I can manage my own care. They can learn to function without using us as emotional pawns. I'm done being their excuse to control your life. 2 months later, we moved into a tiny apartment together. Emma got accepted to a nearby community college for graphic design. I started Stanford in the fall, finally pursuing the engineering degree I dreamed about since middle school. Our parents called constantly, alternating between guilt trips and desperate anger. How can you abandon your sister? Mom cried during one particularly dramatic call. After everything we've sacrificed for this family? Emma took the phone calmly. You didn't sacrifice for family, Mom. You sacrificed Jake to avoid the hard work of actually supporting me. There's a difference. Sometimes the person you think is holding you back is actually the only one fighting for your freedom, and sometimes breaking free means doing it together. Have you ever been blamed for something?
My sister announced her pregnancy at my wedding reception, so I made sure her child would never call her mom. I was 28 when I found out how deep betrayal could cut. It wasn't the kind of hurt that fades after a few weeks. It was slow and steady. It made every good memory taste bitter, turned every dream into something dark. My sister Delilah had been stealing my spotlight since the day she was born. Every milestone I reached somehow became about her. My college graduation turned into her emergency appendectomy that miraculously healed itself the moment she had everyone's attention. My promotion dinner at Olive Garden became her engagement announcement before I could even mention my new position. She wore a white Vera Wang dress to my engagement party and told everyone she thought it was a white party theme. At my bachelorette weekend in Nashville, she announced she was trying for a baby and spent the entire time talking about ovulation schedules. When Delilah married Garrett, an investment banker, she made sure everyone knew his quarterly bonus was bigger than my entire teacher salary. She tagged me in every Instagram post about their new white Tesla Model X, their Sub-Zero refrigerator, their couples massage at the Four Seasons Maui. Meanwhile, I was planning my small beach wedding with 75 guests, saving every penny teaching 7th grade math. The night before my wedding, Delilah pulled me aside at the rehearsal dinner. I have the most amazing surprise for tomorrow, she said, practically vibrating with excitement. I told her no surprises, that tomorrow was about me and Rowan. She just smiled and said I'd love it. During my maid of honor speech at the reception, Delilah stood up and grabbed the microphone. Sorry to interrupt, she said, not looking sorry at all. But I just can't wait another second to share our news. We're pregnant. She pulled out ultrasound photos from her Michael Kors clutch and started passing them around during what was supposed to be my first dance to At Last by Etta James. Guests didn't know where to look, so I congratulated her while others tried to focus on us. She fake cried about being so emotional at weddings while cornering my grandmother to show her the sonogram. I heard her tell me and Rachel, at least one of us can give mom grandchildren, knowing full well Rowan and I had been trying for 2 years with 3 miscarriages. By the time she posted photos of herself at my wedding with the caption, 2 celebrations in 1, blessed baby Garrett, I was done being the bigger person. For the next few months, I learned interesting things. Delilah only got pregnant to compete with my wedding. She told our cousin Jenna that Garrett's Hong Kong business trips meant she'd need a full-time nanny anyway. Babies are basically accessories for the first year, she said at her baby shower while I smiled and took mental notes. She actually told her yoga friends that pregnancy is just something you endure for the Instagram announcement and gender reveal party. I recorded everything. I volunteered to help with everything. I was there for every appointment, every birthday class, every Pottery Barn nursery show. I documented everything on my phone, including the time she said pregnancy was ruining her Equinox body and she couldn't wait to get rid of this thing. I became the supportive sister she never was. When baby Elena was born, Delilah's interest lasted exactly 4 Instagram posts. Garrett traveled 3 weeks out of 4 to Hong Kong. Delilah had hot yoga and wine tastings and Botox appointments. Can you watch her for a few hours? Turned into entire weekends. By the time Elena was 3 months old, I was basically raising her. Her first word was mama to me while Delilah was at full cycle. She didn't even ask about it later. I documented every single milestone with timestamps and videos. First smile at 6 weeks, first laugh at 12 weeks, first time rolling over at 4 months. All with me while Delilah posted old photos pretending to be Mama Bear. At Thanksgiving, Elena screamed when Delilah tried to hold her for family photos and reached for me instead. It's strange how she prefers you, our mother said while Elena slept in my arms and Delilah scrolled through her bald sails. When Elena was 18 months old, Garrett's assistant called them about charges of Chris Carlton while he was supposedly in Hong Kong. It turns out Delilah was there for a personal treat at Brad. During the custody hearing, Garrett's lawyer presented my documentation. 647 hours of babysitting log, 83 doctor visits I attended, 14 first milestones I witnessed. The judge asked 2-year-old Elena in chambers who took care of her. Mama, she said, pointing at me through the window. When asked about Delilah, she said, that's Stevie. She yells. The judge granted Garrett full custody with me as legal co-guardian. Delilah got supervised visitation every other Saturday for 4 hours. Now Elena's 5 and calls me Mama everywhere. Delilah tried to fix this one that Elena's named for cycle. She knelt down and said loudly enough for other parents to hear, "Remember, sweetie, I'm your real mommy." Elena looked at her confused and announced to everyone, "No, you're not. You're just Dee Dee who makes Daddy sad." Then she ran past Delilah to hug me first. At Mother's Day brunch, Elena made me a card that said, "Best mama ever," while Delilah sat alone in Starbucks. Last month at kindergarten orientation, Elena introduced me as her mom, and when the teacher asked about Delilah in the parking lot, Elena said, "Oh, that's just my dad's ex-wife." She wanted to steal my spotlight. Instead, I stole her light and raised it as my own. My sister announced her pregnancy.
A sick kid. Where?
Your house.
Wait, you're in LA?
Surprise! I'm moving back home.
What about med school?
I'm dropping out.
You are?
Isn't it great? I'll be at yours in 10 minutes. See you soon, babe. Be there in 10 minutes.
Stop. Don't. Mom.
Why?
Leah's here.
Your ex-girlfriend?
So about that. She's kind of not my ex.
What do you mean?
I never broke up with her.
What?
I can explain.
You lied to me.
No, she lives so far away. We never even talk.
But you didn't end things?
I tried. She's been so lonely at school. Her classes have been rough. I didn't want her forever.
You're unbelievable.
Sally, please. I really like you. I want to be with you.
You really mean that?
Yes.
Then break up with Leah, and I'll forgive you.
Okay, I'll do it soon.
Not soon. Right now.
Right now, she's on her way over.
Better tell her quickly then.
I can't do it now.
Why not?
She's dropped out of med school and drove 7 hours here. She's so excited to see me, it would break her heart.
What about my heart?
Auntie Anne, I need Rosebud. Help me roast my boyfriend from cheating on me.
Just saying, you're even more of a creep than I thought, actually. You're even more of a creep than I thought, actually.
Sally, please, just give me a few days.
You have to decide now. It's me or her.
It's not even a question. I choose you.
So you'll break up with her?
Yes.
Thank you, baby. I'll see you in 5 minutes till I can kiss you.
Wait, don't come.
Why not?
You need to turn around. You can't drop out of med school.
What?
Being a doctor is your dream.
Dreams change.
This is your life's dream.
Med school is hard. I'm failing my classes. I'm so lonely without you.
It'll get better.
This is better. Now we can be together. No more long distance. You are my new dream.
Look, Leah, we need to talk.
Wait, save it for the cruise. Surprise. Now that I'm not in med school, I'm saving so much money. I booked us a couple's cruise.
Did?
Private beaches, beautiful water, gourmet food.
Oh my god, that's so sweet, baby. I can't wait.
I'll be over in 2. Start packing. Did you end it yet? Hello?
It was really hard, but I ended it.
Oh, baby, thank you. I'll be there in 2.
Actually, baby, I need to be alone right now.
Are you sure? I can comfort you.
Yeah, I'm going to go camping. Take my mind off things.
Camping for how long?
4 nights.
4 nights?
Also, I won't have my phone.
Wait, what?
But I promise you, babe, I'm all yours.
Ready to go soon?
Yes, baby, I'm all yours. Where? You sick or something? Oh, you stupid bitch. You feeling treated because of
Check, this is my watch hour. This is my watch hour, so whenever you do it, you watch it.
I'm not playing it. He keeps saying he's playing. He's just on his phone. You hear me, Cam? I told you I had a testing room. Look, I test those zombies. Because I'm a pest. Why can't I go check on my village?
What's the badass thing a friend has done to help you? My friend Marcus saved me from the worst year of my life without me even knowing he was doing it. I was stuck living with my girlfriend Natalie, who seemed perfect to everyone else. She was funny and charming when people were around, always cracking jokes and making everyone laugh at parties. But the second we got home, she turned into someone completely different. Natalie would scream at me for leaving dishes in the sink for 5 minutes. She'd throw my PlayStation controller at the wall because I didn't pause my game fast enough when she wanted to talk. One time she locked me outside in February because I forgot to pick up milk on the way home. I stood there in a t-shirt and jeans for 3 hours until she let me back
See,
in.
Cam?
But the worst part wasn't even the scream.
See?
Things. Natalie,
That's why you don't like girls. That's why when your girlfriend get on her cycle. That's why you don't like
What's the weirdest
girls
thing
when they
Donald
get
ever
on their
accused you of
cycle,
doing?
right?
This woman accused me of stealing her husband's identity.
Now,
Not identity
if I
theft,
click
identity,
confirm.
like his actual personality. I was supposed to do soccer game cheering from the sidelines.
Because you can't play. Gotta pick one, because if I kick you, you can't throw it back.
I'll make Christian leave.
No,
But there's really nothing to do.
so are you playing?
Model doesn't. Oh yeah, not that. She would make it stop raining. I don't like it. Where's my phone going?
No, people want
Don't.
I want to do something.
Who villager?
Blonde woman marched over. You need to stop. Stop what? Stop copying my husband. It's creepy, and I want it to end. I had no idea what she was talking about. She pointed at me. That's my husband.
Now can you make it stop raining? I gotta check on my village. Y'all okay? Nobody? I'm on my way to y'all. Where's King? Oh, I'm on my way to you, Sean. So can find him.
I already know where
He's at his watchtower. Kim, isn't you at your watchtower?
Yeah.
That's... Yeah, Sean see it.
it's hard to miss.
Wowzers. I'm down with that.
Like if we were to ever go to war, this is where we
Sean.
Eric,
You know it has been an hour, right?
I followed her finger to some random dad I'd never seen before. Ma'am,
Where
I
is
know
it?
your husband. Lies. You laugh exactly like him. You clap the
Can you
same way.
turn it
You
down?
bought the same jacket. I looked down at my blue windbreaker. This is from Target. Derek's is from Target too. Explain that. Because Target sells a lot of blue jackets. She shook her head like I was missing something obvious. You started coming to games right after we moved here. You studied our routine, learned his cheering style, and now you're pretending to be him. Other parents were listening now. Lady, I've been coming to these games for 2 years. My nephew plays midfielder. Convenient cover story. She snapped. Show me proof he's actually your nephew. I pointed to the field. Tommy, number 12. She squinted. Anyone can memorize a random kid's name and number. This was getting surreal. Okay, what exactly do you think I'm doing? Identity harvesting. You're slowly becoming Derek so you can take over his life. She was completely serious. First the jacket, then the laugh. Next you'll be driving his car and showing up at his job. The referee's whistle blew. During halftime, she came back with reinforcements. Her husband, Derek. Tell him, she demanded. Derek looked embarrassed. Honey, maybe we should just know. Show him the evidence. She pulled out her phone, scrolling through photos. Look, here's Derek at last week's game. The photo showed a middle-aged man in a blue jacket, clapping. Now look at this creep. She'd somehow taken a picture of me doing the exact same pose. Identical behavior. Derek studied the photos. Sarah, lots of people clap like this. Don't you see? He's systematically copying you. Soon he'll cut his hair like yours. Buy your cologne. I'm going bald, and I don't wear cologne. Derek interrupted. Sarah wasn't deterred. He's planning ahead. This is a long-term identity theft operation. She turned to the other parents. Has anyone else noticed suspicious mimicking behavior? Dead silence. One mom slowly backed away. The game ended. As I was leaving, Sarah followed me to the parking lot. I'm documenting everything, she announced, filming me with her phone. When you walk, your car model, even your license plate. Why would you need my license plate? To prove you're following us home to study Derek's evening routine. I got in my car and drove away. She actually followed me for 3 blocks before turning off. The next week, I showed up to Tommy's game wearing a bright red shirt instead of blue. Sarah was there with a notebook, writing furiously. At halftime, she approached me again. Nice try, but I know what you're doing. Wearing a different color shirt? Psychological warfare. You're trying to confuse me by changing your appearance. Classic identity thief tactic. That's when I realized there was no winning with this woman. Derek
Yeah,
behind
can you
her.
put me
Sarah
on Survivor
told my
real
parents
quick?
about this. And
Never
she
mind,
said
never
you might
mind,
need to
never
talk to
mind.
someone too.
Cause I got it.
Red. You told Dr.
Yeah,
Martinez
put me on
about my
Survivor.
investigation. It's not an investigation, honey. It's paranoia. She stormed off. Derek apologized to me. She's been watching too many crime documentaries. I still go to Tommy's games. Sarah still takes notes, but now she brings
Yeah, I'm
Derek
trying to
to
make
therapist's
my way,
business
yeah,
card for
but-
other parents, just in case they spot any suspicious mimicking behavior. Last week, she accused the referee of copying Derek's whistle-blowing technique. The ref just stared at her and said, "Lady, there's literally only one way to blow a whistle." Sarah,
No!
that's exactly what someone in on the conspiracy
Put
would
me
say.
back in El Creative.
Sit down.
Yo, I literally got a bed in my house, dog.
Sit there and we start telling our kids. Seems like you're gonna be a great dad. You're gonna be a great dad too someday, bro.
Yeah, bro.
The agent looked me dead in the eye and he's like, I'm not gonna make it back to him.
Yeah.
How about end up getting shot?
Huh?
Yeah.
Because I deserve it. That's point blank period.
The rapper XXXTentacion has been shot and apparently
Oh, heck
dead
no.
while shopping for a motorcycle.
Still looking for bed, bro. What you doing, babe?
And we're sitting
My bad.
around with the chopstick and we just sit there and we start telling our kids. He was like, you're gonna be a great dad. He said, no, not. And he just looked me dead in the eye and he's like, I'm not
I'm on my way to you. You village. Bye.
Get hard on me because I deserve it. That's point blank period.
The rapper XXXTentacion has been shot and apparently
Who's
targeted while
Tentacion?
shopping for a
Who's
motorcycle.
Tentacion?
Everybody will get a death that is deserving. Will get what you deserve.
Just know with a big sick knife, slice it.
I didn't tell my dad he isn't getting the inheritance he's expecting. So my grandpa died 2 months ago, and my dad has been acting like he just won the lottery. He's already picked out a new truck, started looking at vacation houses, and keeps talking about how he's finally gonna live the good life. The thing is, I'm the one who helped Grandpa write his will 3 years ago when he was still sharp, and I know exactly what's in it. Dad's not getting what he thinks he's getting. My grandpa was this tough old guy who owned a small auto repair shop for like 40 years. Super smart with money, never spent on anything fancy, drove the same beat-up Ford for 20 years, but he was also really good at
Sleep.
reading people, and honestly,
Don't
he
ask where I'm
was how my
sleeping
dad
at.
turned out. See, my dad's
Yeah.
always been the type to count other people's money.
Sean,
When
don't
Grandpa
ask where I'm
got sick
sleeping
last
at.
year, Dad started coming around way more often, but it was obvious he was just waiting for the inheritance. He'd make these comments like, "When I get the shop, I'm
Don't
gonna
ask where I'm
modernize everything,"
sleeping at,
or
Kim.
"Can't wait to see what Grandpa's been hiding in his bank accounts." It was honestly pretty gross to watch. The real kicker was when Grandpa was in the hospital for his final stay. Dad spent more time on his phone looking at boats online than actually talking to Grandpa. I remember sitting there watching Dad scroll through some marina website while Grandpa was trying to
Don't
tell him
ask where I'm
stories about the
sleeping.
old days. Grandpa noticed too. I could see it in his eyes. Now here's what actually happened with the will. 3 years ago, Grandpa called me over and said he wanted to update his will. He was always closer to me because I actually helped him at the shop
Look around
sometimes and didn't just
I'm
show up when I
sleeping in
needed
the
something.
watch.
We sat at his kitchen table with this lawyer he'd known forever, and Grandpa laid it all out. The auto shop, going to Carlos, his head mechanic who's been there for 15 years and actually knows how to run the place. Carlos has been like a son to Grandpa, comes by every weekend to check on him, brings his kids around. Real family stuff. The house? That's going to my cousin Emma, who's been helping Grandpa with groceries and doctor appointments for the past 5 years, while Dad was too busy to visit regularly. Dad gets $5,000 in Grandpa's old toolbox. That's it. The really crazy part is Grandpa left me as the executor of the will, which means I have to be the one to break all this news to everyone. He told me straight up, "I want you to handle this because you'll do it right, and you won't let anyone push you around about it." But here I am, 2 months later, watching my dad make all his plans, and I haven't said anything.
Yo.
Part of me feels bad because
No.
he's genuinely excited. Like yesterday, he showed me this RV he wants to buy, and was talking about how him and Mom are going to travel the country. The other part of me remembers all those times Grandpa tried to connect with him, and Dad just wasn't interested unless money was involved. The will reading is scheduled for next Friday. Dad keeps asking me if I know anything.
What happened? My bad.
He actually said to me last week, "You're probably going to get something nice too. But
What?
don't worry, I'll make sure you
My
take
bad.
it."
My bad,
I
G.
called the lawyer yesterday to double check everything, and she confirmed that, yeah, this is exactly what Grandpa wanted. She also mentioned that Grandpa
Shining. Why are you going up there? Cam, can you go to sleep?
No, just go to sleep. He's not going to sleep. Isn't that late?
Isn't getting the inheritance he's expecting. So my grandpa died 2 months ago, and my dad has been acting like he just won the lottery. He's already picked out a truck, started looking at vacation houses, and keeps talking about how he's finally going to the thing is,
You don't deserve to.
It's morning.
I don't like
Kim spot me here with you.
Get him!
repair shop
No.
for like 40 years.
Kim.
My belly!
Never spent on anything fancy. He drove the
Yeah,
same
put
Kia
us in
Ford
some-
for 20
No.
years, but he was also
Cause
really
Kim,
good
you
at
need to spot me here.
He wasn't too happy with how my dad turned out. See, my dad's always been the type to count other people's money. When Grandpa got
I'm not
sick last
technically
year,
at his
Dad started
village.
coming around way more often. But it was
I'm
obvious he was just
I'm
waiting for
20
the
minutes
inheritance.
away.
He'd make these comments like, "When I get the shop, I'm gonna modernize everything," or "Can't wait to see
Since
what
I lost
Grandpa's
my house, I
doing
gotta
in his
make
bank account." It was
another
honestly pretty
underground.
gross to watch. The real
This
kicker was
bed's
when Grandpa was in the hospital for his final day. Dad spent more
Actually.
time on his phone looking at boats online than actually talking to Grandpa. I remember sitting there watching Dad scroll through some marina website while Grandpa was trying to tell him stories about the old days. Grandpa noticed too. I could see it in his eyes. Now here's what actually happened with the will. 3 years ago, Grandpa called me over and said he wanted to update his will. He was always closer to me because I actually helped him and didn't just show up when I needed something. We sat at his kitchen table with this lawyer he'd known forever, and Grandpa laid it all out. The auto shop, going to Carlos, his head mechanic who's been there for 15 years and actually knows how to run the place. Carlos
not
has been like a
technically at
son
your
to
house.
Grandpa, comes by every weekend to check on him, brings his kids around. Real
I'm at your village.
That's going to my cousin Emma, who's been helping
I'm
Grandpa
about to build my
with
house.
groceries for the past 5 years, while Dad was too busy to visit
Since I
regularly.
lost my
Dad gets
village.
$5,000 in Grandpa's old toolbox.
Can't
That's
be
it.
right
The
there
really
by
crazy
my
part is
village.
Grandpa left me as the executor of the
Why?
will, which means
Because I
I
said
have to be the one to break all this news to everyone. He told me straight up, "I want you to handle this because you'll do it right, and you won't let anyone push you around about it." But here I am, 2 months later, watching my dad make all these plans, and I haven't said anything. Part of me feels bad because he's genuinely excited. Like yesterday, he showed me this RV he wants to buy, and was talking about how him and Mom are going to travel the country. But the other part of me remembers all those times Grandpa tried to connect with him, and Dad just wasn't interested unless money was involved. The will reading is scheduled for next Friday. Dad keeps asking me if I know anything about what's in it, and I just tell him we'll find out soon enough. He assumes since I helped Grandpa with some paperwork that I must know something good. He actually said to me last week, "You're probably going to get something nice too, but don't worry, I'll make sure you're taken care of when I inherit the big stuff." I called the lawyer yesterday to double check everything, and she confirmed that, yeah, this is exactly what Grandpa wanted. She also mentioned that Grandpa specifically told her he didn't want anyone knowing the details beforehand because he wanted people's true colors to show. Turns out Grandpa was watching everyone real carefully these past few years. Carlos doesn't even know he's inheriting the show. Emma doesn't know about the house. They're both gonna be shocked. But Dad's gonna be destroyed. And I'm the one who has to watch it happen and then deal with the aftermath. I didn't tell my dad he isn't getting the inheritance.
One of the most dramatic misunderstandings you've ever had in the paper. I live in a small, overly suspicious neighborhood. You know this, everyone has binoculars, but claims it's for bird watching. If you move your
Love
lawn
with
down
it
the
is
road, suddenly there's a suspicion of it. But one day I do something that's absolutely outrageous, something scandalous, something clearly criminal in the eyes of suburbia law. I do something simple. Nah, I'm just joking. I wash my bedsheet. I know, all the authorities. Specifically, I wash my Minecraft bedsheet, which, yes, I still sleep on, the emotionally stable adult that I am. It has little pixelated sheets, creeper red eyes, and Steve just standing there like he's thinking about taxes. It was a warm, breezy Saturday, and I thought, hey, sun drying saves electricity and also makes me feel like an 1800s peasant woman. So I pinned the sheet up on the clothesline in the backyard, right next to a pair of unmatched socks and a towel that's seen better centuries. And then the chaos begins. 20 minutes later, I'm inside watching YouTube and eating cereal with a fork because all my spoons were in the sink, and I hear a knock on the door. And it's like one of those I have a clipboard and a complaint knock. I open the door. It's Karen, not Karen, the actual neighborhood Karen, the president of the HOA, the neighborhood Facebook group, and possibly her own cult. She's got sunglasses on indoors, iced coffee with a reusable straw, judging me. I printed out a photo of my Minecraft bedsheet, flapping peacefully in the wind. Hi, she said, in the energy of a woman who thinks lavender is a personality trait. Just wanted to check in because multiple neighbors have expressed concern about the children. What children, Karen? Exactly. And what? She keeps in like she's about to give her national secrets. You've noticed an increase in noise, children's laughter, running, screaming, and now there's a decor. She gestured toward my backyard like she's crime scene. I look out the window and see the Minecraft sheet just chilling there, like it's trying to live its unblocky life. She squints at it like it personally insulted her. Karen goes, so just wondering if maybe you're running a daycare. It's unlikely work, which would be very illegal. I blink again. I'm not running a daycare. I currently live alone. My most frequent visitor is the Amazon guy, and sometimes he doesn't even knock anymore. He just throws classes and runs. She's not convinced. She pulls out a tiny photo. This one is a blurry picture of my cousin's kid who visited 2 months ago. He was in my backyard blowing bubbles and trying to convince. She zoomed in like it's surveillance footage from a crime drama. A child, she said, like she caught me smuggling toddlers. That's my cousin's kid. I explained. He came over once while his parents were at IKEA arguing over rugs. Karen looks unconvinced. But Minecraft bedsheet, that's child-coded behavior. Lady has that 27
Yeah, I'm not living by you. I can't even build my White House. Because your guard is in the way. Your guard is out over here. Bullshit, get out of my building! I'm not even inside of it, dang. I'm just flying over it. Stay out of my building. No. Yeah. Can you tell him to stay out of my village? I was even in your village. He's mad because I was just flying over his village.
Hardcore over my fence. Within hours, I get a knock. Not Karen this time. Her husband, Brad, who always looks like he peaked in high school football and still calls water. Yeah, Brad goes, "You're making fun of my wife. Your wife thinks that she's illegal." Stares. I stare. A tumbleweed rolled by me distance. He just like, people need to keep this blocked off, and then I start speaking to femboys. What's the most dramatic misunderstanding?
Well, we do that.
What's one confession you only make it?
Well, we do that.
What's one confession you only
What's wrong, Cam?
college, I lived in a dorm with my roommate Jake, who was the most
You said what?
He never walked inside of the room, left his laptop open, kept cash lying around. I respected his stuff, but thought he was nice. Our neighbor across the hall was Marcus, who seemed cool at first. He hung out in our room, played video games, borrowed things. But I started noticing weird stuff. My energy drinks would disappear. Jake's snacks would be gone. Small amounts of cash vanished from Jake's desk. Jake never said anything because he figured he just misplaced things or eaten them and forgotten. He's too nice to accuse anyone, but I started keeping track. Every time Marcus came over, something would go missing the next day. A bag of chips here, $20 there, my phone charger, Jake's headphones. Nothing major enough to make a big deal about, but it was adding up. The breaking point came when Jake's grandmother sent him a care package with homemade cookies and a $50 gift card to the campus bookstore. The gift card disappeared the same day Marcus had been hanging out in our room.
I'm still living by you, Cam. I just built my house right beside yours. Well, not that close,
but I couldn't prove it. If I accused him without evidence, it would cause drama, and Jake would feel worse. So I decided to set a trap. I went to the bank and got 10 brand new $20 bills. I wrote down all the serial numbers and took photos of them. Then I left them in different spots around our room where Marcus would see them when he came over. I put one in my textbook, one in Jake's backpack pocket, one on my desk, one in the drawer where we kept snacks.
found Jake's backpack and my desk drawer. I didn't say anything that day. I waited. 2 days later, Marcus mentioned he was going to the campus bookstore. He asked if we wanted anything. Jake said no, but I said sure. Could you grab me a pack of highlighters? Marcus came back with my highlighters and some other stuff. When he wasn't looking, I checked his wallet while he was in the bathroom. There were my 3 $20 bills sitting right there with the serial numbers I'd memorized, but I still didn't confront him. I had a better idea. The next week, Marcus threw a party in his room. He invited everyone on the floor, including me and Jake. The party was getting pretty wild, and Marcus was drunk and bragging about how he'd been making easy money lately. That's when I made my move. I casually mentioned to a few people that I'd been tracking some stolen money by serial numbers, and I was pretty sure someone at the party had it on them. Marcus immediately got defensive and said that was crazy. Nobody here would steal money. He was blurring his words and getting loud about it. So I said, okay, then you won't mind if we all check our bills to prove that I was stolen money, right? And the serial numbers on my phone. That's a great idea, because they were all drunk and it seemed like a fun game. Marcus couldn't back down without looking guilty, so he agreed. One by one, people started pulling out their cash and reading all serial numbers on the floor. They made fun of me. I say he didn't take the action, but everyone wanted it. He pulled out his wallet and there were my 320s. I read off the first serial number and it matched perfectly, then the second one and the third. The whole room went silent. Marcus tried to say he didn't know how those bills got in his wallet, but nobody believed him. The story spread around the dorm within hours. Marcus became known as the guy who steals from his friends. People stopped inviting him places, stopped trusting him with anything. He ended up transferring to a different dorm the next semester. The funny part is that Jake never found out I set the whole thing up. He just thought it was an amazing coincidence that we caught Marcus with marked bills. Marcus never admitted to taking the gift card or any of the other stuff, but he also never tried to deny it when people brought it up. He just went quiet whenever anyone mentioned it. I felt a little bad about ruining his reputation, but not really. He'd been stealing from us for months and making Jake feel crazy for thinking he was missing things. Sometimes you have to be creative when the system won't protect you. What's one confession you'd only make anonymously? In college, I lived in a dorm with my roommate Jake, who was the most trusting guy you'd ever meet. He never locked his side of the room, left his laptop open, kept cash lying around. I respected his stuff, but thought he was naive. Our neighbor across the hall was Marcus, who seemed cool at first. He'd hang out in our room, play video games, borrow things. But I started noticing weird stuff. My energy drinks would disappear. Jake's snacks would be gone. Small amounts of cash. What's the worst thing you've done to a sibling? My brother always gets everything he wants, either from our parents or by taking it from me, and I finally hit my limit. I always hated how he acted like a prince in our house, even though we're not rich at all. He got new video games and costly sneakers almost every week, saying he needed the latest stuff to be liked at school. When his room got too full of junk, he just started moving his things into my room, and even our parents' bedroom. When I told him to stop, he took a bottle of chocolate syrup from the kitchen and poured it all over my school books and homework, so I had to give him my desk drawers just to save my stuff. I also hated how he was always asking our parents for money to buy stupid things like packs of trading cards when we were struggling to afford groceries. When they told him no, he would just sneak into my room and steal from the jar where I was saving up for a new bike. But the thing that made me want to fully destroy him was when he ruined something that meant the world to me. This girl I really liked at school came up to me during lunch and gave me a folded note. Inside was a drawing she made of the two of us, and it was her way of showing she liked me back. I was so happy I could barely speak, and I kept the note secure in my pocket all day. When I got home, my brother saw me looking at it and snatched it right out of my hands. He read it out loud in a stupid voice, making fun of me for having a girlfriend when we weren't even dating yet. He wouldn't give the note back, and I could feel tears in my eyes because I was only 13, and this was my first real crush. When we got inside, he tore the note into tiny little pieces and laughed as I dropped to my knees, trying to pick them all up from the garbage can. He just walked away while I sat at the kitchen table with tape and glue, trying to put it back together. I was so done being pushed around by my selfish brother, and I knew I had to teach him a real lesson. So while he was busy playing his video games, I took his pet rabbit out of its cage, put it in a box, and brought it to the pet store downtown. I told the people working there that I found the rabbit hopping around a park on the other side of town, and that it looked lost. The workers didn't seem to care about my story, and just took the rabbit before telling me to leave. I ran home and washed my hands over and over to get rid of the rabbit smell. I waited all evening for him to notice it was gone, but he never did. He was too busy deciding what to wear the next day and making more jokes about my crush. 3 days later, my brother brought some friends over while our parents were at work. While they were playing games in the living room, one of his friends asked, "Hey, didn't you have a rabbit?" My brother just said yeah, like he didn't really care. His friend kept going, asking, "Then where is it? I don't see its cage." My brother looked mixed up for a second, then stood up and started calling the rabbit's name. He looked in every room, flipping over cushions and checking under beds, and even asked me if I knew where his rabbit went. Then he and his friends went outside to search, and he started looking really worried. After an hour of looking, my brother started crying and called our parents to come home from work. They left early and helped him look around the neighborhood until it got dark. They finally gave up and told my brother the rabbit must have gotten out somehow and was just exploring, promising he'd come back tomorrow. But of course, the rabbit didn't come back. The next day, when we were home alone, he was on the computer making a lost pet poster and asked me to help him put them up. While we were taping a sign to a pole, I just smiled and told him, "You're never going to see your rabbit again." He froze and just stared at my smile. "It was you," he screamed, and then he chased me all the way home. I made it inside my room and locked the door just before he could grab me. I turned my music up as loud as it could go and pushed my heavy dresser in front of the door to block it. He spent the next 2 hours banging on the door, screaming all the things he was going to do to me. That night, he told our parents what I said, but I just acted mixed up and told them I had no idea what he was talking about. Since he had no proof, they let it go and said the rabbit would show up soon. If not, they could just save up and get him a new pet next year, maybe a hamster that couldn't run away. After everyone was fed, I checked the pet store's website and saw that someone had already adopted the rabbit the very same day I brought it in, so there was no way of getting it back. My brother has never bothered me again since that day. He finally learned how far I would go to get even. What's the worst thing you've done to us? My brother always gets everything he wants, either from our parents or by taking it from me, and I finally hit my limit. I always hated how he acted like a prince in our house, even though we're not rich at all. He got new video games and costly sneakers
You
almost
put
every
me in
week,
survival.
saying he needed the latest stuff to be liked at school. When his room got too full of junk, he just started moving his things into my room, and even our parents' bedroom. When I told him to stop, he took a bottle of chocolate syrup from the kitchen and poured it all over my school books and homework, so I had to give him my desk drawers just to save my stuff. I also hated how he was always asking our parents for money to buy stupid things like packs of trading cards when we were struggling to afford groceries. When they told him no,
Alright.
he would just sneak
I'm
into my
ready.
room and steal from the jar where I was saving up for a new bike. But the thing that
What's the most satisfying revenge you got on airline staff who discriminated against you?
If your dad's name starts with any letter from your you won't. Just get it. But here's the trick. If you say your dad's name, you're Paris name. If your dad's name is like if it's Gerald, you cheat on
Gerald.
I haven't said your dad's name yet. Leave a like so I know. Now for some names that are more common but still kind of rare. If his name is
Gregory. Simon.
is my name mean?
I'm close, yeah.
Test now.
Are we still playing with them? Yeah.
What does my name mean? Test now. Test now. My dad went to prison for 5 years. If it meant protecting you, that's how it started. Let me take you back. When I was a kid, my Uncle Jamie was my favorite person in the world. Have you ever hospitalized? My dad went to prison for 5 years, but he did it to protect me from a monster. I was 19. My dad finally told me what really happened. He had a few drinks in him, and I think after all the years, the weight of it too busy. He had this huge collection. One summer afternoon, Uncle Jamie asked if I wanted to go on a little adventure with him. Just us. I was 7. I packed my little backpack with snacks and action figures. I remember my dad even helped me zip it up. He smiled and said, "You're gonna have fun. Jamie's got a knack for this kind of stuff." That was the last time my dad ever smiled when talking about his brother. Less than an hour later, the house exploded in chaos. I remember hearing a scream from downstairs. Something raw, primal. My dad's voice, but not like I'd ever heard it before. Then came the crash. The door slammed so hard, the wall shook. When I ran to the hallway, I saw a picture frame face down, glass shattered, and my dad was gone. He didn't come back that night or the next for weeks.
Chat, I wonder which house is mine. I bet y'all can't find which house is mine. It's impossible.
Bro.
You can't find which house is mine. It's crazy.
I'm building my house with that.
It's the people who built that with a house with water and lava.
I didn't know.
Something about work I didn't understand, but I knew things weren't right, especially when Uncle Jamie stopped coming around too. We'd see him around town sometimes, at the gas station, outside the grocery store, but the second he saw us, especially if Mom was there, he'd vanish. 9 months passed before Dad came home. I remember jumping into his arms the second I saw him. We had a tiny welcome home party with cake and pizza.
Can we just stop
It
raining?
wasn't the same. Something in him had gone quiet. Have you ever hospitalized someone who hurt you first? I used to work as a janitor at Riverside High School in Indiana. People looked at me funny because I kept to myself and wore the same 3 flannel shirts every week. Kids
You could be today? Creative.
Pittsburgh. She was born when I was 8, and everything revolved around her. She got brand new clothes while we
That's it in the video. Hope y'all had a great time. That's it in the video. Hope y'all had a great time. Keep on.